Hi. So you have an important presentation to do. Did you know that there's a built-in human time limit? Well, there is. People have a typical attention span of about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's not a very long time. That means if you have a 20-minute presentation to deliver, you lose your audience about halfway through, unless you know these important tricks. First, the obvious. Cut the presentation to as close to 10 minutes as possible. Well, that's that's kind of a given, but that's not always possible. Sometimes it is. Cut out the junk, cut out the unnecessary stuff, and sometimes you can get it down to 10 minutes. But you can't always do that. So what if you can't? Well, one of the things you can do is change the pace. Now, that doesn't mean do the whole presentation at 100 miles an hour. No, it means when you're about 10 minutes into a presentation, change gears. When you change gears during a presentation, it signals to the audience that something important is going on, and it gives them like a mental reset. We can raise the volume and kick up the pace. By golly, I've got 8 minutes to go, and we're going to get through this thing. So we can speed up and kick up the pace, or we can slow things down. Ponder it for a minute. Lower the volume. Inject some pauses, and that signals the audience that you're really giving thought to what's being presented. Any sort of change in cadence catches the attention of your audience, and it performs a mental reset. Don't hog the floor. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if I'm before an audience and I'm talking for 10 straight minutes, when I get to that point where I see that attention span limit coming up, one of the things you can do is a little audience engagement. Have some questions, have some interaction, ask for some feedback, get some audience participation. In other words, share the presentation with the audience. So when you feel yourself coming up on that 10-minute limit, get a little audience interaction. Another thing you can do is just change the look. Add some color, change the fonts. Now that doesn't mean that your presentation needs to look like it's all slapped together. I mean, right here I really changed gears. We have it's kind of a totally different look, but it's not so totally different that it doesn't fit in. It fits with my theme. So you can change up the look a little bit. Put some color into the fonts, go to a different font, change your background up a little bit, use an image that's striking. When you hit that 10-minute mark, and this is every 10 minutes, so 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you may have a 4-hour presentation. It's about every 10 minutes, do a little change up pace, change of volume, look, feel, color, font. Another thing you can do is change the approach. So we can go from speaking to an audience to maybe telling a story. This is a good time to put a story. Inject an anecdote, some personal experience. You know, I was working with a client that was convinced that he knew everything there was to know about presentation, and he had gone after this one client time and time and time again, never could get anywhere. And I looked at his presentation. I went through and did a practice round with him, and I said, look, here's what we've got to do. You got to make this personal. We need to get a story involved. We got to make this real so the client can get their head around it. So we built the story in. Needless to say, the guy went off, delivered the story, and what happened? He got the deal after trying for years to get this client. That little change made a big difference. So you get to that 10-minute mark, change your approach. Go to a story mode. Go to a demonstration. Maybe that's the time for your handout. Just switch things up a little bit. Whoa. Now this is a trick that I like to do. I just make a black slide. You make a slide with a black background. No text, no graphics, no logos, no nothing. And it looks like you've shut off the projector. This is something that I teach in class. Now this gives me a chance to get all the distractions out of the way and just interact with you. Now, this 10-minute thing is so important that I want to get everything out of the way, all the distractions out of the way, and I want to just stop for a minute and focus on this. Now, you can see how effective this is. It takes everything off the screen. I don't have a image being projected onto my chest. That is, it's like the projector is shut off. So you just make a slide, make the background black, take everything off, and when you hit that slide, this is what you get. It's almost like the projector is off. The other thing you can do is go completely stark. Take away the images, take away the background, take away everything, and just make your point. This 10-minute thing is really important. Just say it. Just have a blank slide and just say it. Now people say, it's not all pretty. Well, all that pretty and jazzy stuff is distracting. Just say it. So let's recap. The human attention span is about 10 minutes. Some people's 11, some is 9. We want to do something to change up the pace every 10 minutes. So if you want to learn more tips like these, you can host a presentation class by Teach You Presentation, or continue to watch these videos. Thank you very much.